My dreams are nightmares. How can I sleep? You got the gun against me.
What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Mattel WWE Elite Collection Series 76 Otis. And so here we have Otis posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Otis does come with 3 pairs of hands. We do get a pair of grip hands. We get a pair of fists. Then we get a pair of style pose hands. Otis also does come with a cardboard cutout of the YOLO County Tag Team titles. And then he does get his entrance vest. Other than that, Otis doesn't really come with anything else. I don't know what more you would want to include with him, but I think he comes with exactly what he needs. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to his details. So here we have a closer look at Otis, and I have to say Mattel has done a fantastic job with this figure. I love this face. It's a perfect representation of Otis. I think they did a really good job on it. No matter what way you look at it, you can see Otis in here, so I am really happy with how this head sculpt came out. I think if I have one criticism about the head sculpt, it's the hair. I kind of feel like they could have had his hair coming down the sides of his head as well, rather than just slicked back as it is. Also, he is missing his bald spot. He does have somewhat of a bald spot up here, so they did miss out on that. And I think if they had brought his hair to the front a little bit, they could have added that bald spot. But overall, this is still a really good representation of Otis. And again, the hair might not be as accurate as I would like it, but it's at least a soft piece, so it does get out of the way. Not that you're going to be articulating his head that much, if any, because of how low his head sits on his neck. You're basically not getting any head movement out of that. But having a look at the figure himself, there's some good things about this figure. One thing I do like is that Mattel invested into unique parts for Otis here. One thing I don't like is how they went about it. There is no reason why his upper torso should be molded in black plastic. If you look at it, it would make more sense to have his upper torso molded in flesh tone. Why Mattel keeps doing this, I think it saves on flesh tone paint, but you do end up with scratches that don't really look good on the figure, and I really wish that Mattel would stop doing that, because you can see a lot of splotches right there. But he does have a lot of unique pieces. I think the only thing that he has in common with every other figure is probably the hands. I know his arms are Brock Lesnar arms, same with the shoulder, and I think his feet are also generic. But everything else on this figure is unique to Otis. And let's just be glad that they gave him his singlet, because I am not a fan of shirtless Otis. I'm not a fan of shirtless Otis whatsoever, but they did a really good job with this. You can see on the back of his singlet, it does say Otis. Then we have the heavy machinery emblem right here, although it does seem a little odd that that doesn't look right to me. I don't know what it is, it just looks a little off, but that's how it is. Really do like the white stripe right here. So they did a really good job with Otis's torso. Now, here's another thing that they did well, but they could have done better. His legs. Otis has some thick legs, and I mean they are thick. So thick that these are unique only to Otis. And how do I know that? They have the knee pads sculpted right here. Otis doesn't have rubber knee pads like all the other figures that we've come to expect. Everything about his knee pads is sculpted on, and you can see they did a really good job sculpting it. Now, practicality, it really doesn't look right when you bend his leg and you see flesh tone right here. The way they should have done it is they should have painted this part black entirely. That way when you bend his knee, you see the black of the knee pad, not the flesh tone, because it looks like his knee pad is torn at that point. They could have painted all this black just to keep it symmetrical, but unfortunately they did it, and it's the same thing for this side. If they had just painted the inside here black, it would alleviate that problem, because he only really looks good when you bend the bottom joint. Because I guess you can get away with that, but you can't really get away with the top part. Maybe you can, I don't know. But do like the Otis right there, and then the symbol right here. And then we go on to his boots, and he has uniquely sculpted boots because it's Otis and he does need his own boots. So overall, Mattel has done a really good job with this figure. Again, they did some good things, but some bad things, and that's to be expected. Mattel can never get it 100% right, unfortunately. Maybe one day we will, but that has yet to be seen. But Otis here is a pretty good figure, and I do like the way he came out. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed and compare to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Otis posed next to an Ultimate Edition's Brock Lesnar and a basic Jeff Hardy. And finally, here we have Otis posed next to tag team partner Tucker. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to Otis's articulation. Now, Otis here does have the standard Elite articulation with some new things that they added just for this figure. Let's actually talk about his head for a moment. We don't get any up and down movement on his head just because of how low that head sits on his neck. We don't even get head tilt, which is unfortunate. Left and right movement, you're moving it about that far and that far. So he really doesn't articulate well at the head. That is something that you do sacrifice with his head the way it is, so there's no getting around that. Arms are on ball joints. They do go all the way around. No issues there. He can't bring his arms all the way down to the side, but that's pretty much because of how big he is. His arms do go out to about there. We do have a bicep swivel, which works fine. Single bend in the elbow, giving us 90 degrees. And then we have a hinge and swivel at the wrist. Now, here we do have a diaphragm joint for Otis, so he does tilt side to side, which does work nicely. He leans back, but unfortunately they didn't sculpt enough of his belly up here to really hide all that, so it just kind of cuts off. Mattel really needs to work that out if they're going to keep doing it, but he does arch back about that far. Doesn't really crunch forward, and we do get swivel right here, so that is actually surprising, but you don't get all the way around. You just basically get side to side swivel. We do have all the way around swivel right here, which I don't know why they included a mid-torso swivel and a waist swivel, because you can do some really strange things with it. I think they should have just left this one solid piece and just handled the swivel and articulation up here. Legs do go out only to about that far. Otis is not going to be doing any karate kicks, unfortunately. Legs go out to about 45 degrees, which is respectable. He does have a thigh swivel. Now, his thigh swivel is actually cut at an angle. I don't know why it's angled the way it is. You can see when you swivel it, he does have somewhat of a lean. When you get back into position, he doesn't. So, yeah, I don't know why his leg does that. That's a really poor choice of planning on Mattel's part. Double bend in the knee, giving us a little better than 90 degrees. He does rotate at the boot. Does have a hinge that goes back and forward, and then of course we get rocker ankle. So overall, Otis here is a pretty nice figure, and I do like the way he came out. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts. And so here we have Otis posed for my final thoughts, and overall I really like the way this figure came out. I do feel like he does miss the marks in some points, especially with some of the decisions they made. If they had just painted the undersides of his knees, I think that would be much better than leaving it flesh tone, because when you bend his knees, it kind of looks weird, and I'm not the only one who says that. I am thankful that they did get away to give him double jointed knees without those really thick knee pads, but they could have executed it just a little bit better. However, I think that's just a minor little issue I have with Otis. Another issue I have is that the YOLO tag team title is made of cardboard. Why didn't they make it out of soft rubber? I think that would have been a much better decision if it was made of soft rubber, and it would be more durable than cardboard. So that's another thing I think Mattel really messed up on. Other than that, Otis here is a really solid figure, and I do like the way he came out. There's a lot of things to like about this figure. I personally might not like Otis's gimmick, and I think that he should lose a Money in the Bank briefcase this Sunday, but that's neither here nor there. I do feel like this is a really good figure to have in your collection, especially if you're trying to fill out your ranks on SmackDown, Raw, NXT, because Heavy Machinery was featured on all three. Otis here looks really nice in your collection, and he is the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, so if you do need that in your collection, you do need Otis, and I think along with Tucker, he makes a really nice display piece. With that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other WWE videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, don't forget to check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.